Welcome, friends. I'm Bishop Heather Shea here at the United Palace of Spiritual Arts. And today we have a very special guest for you, Jean Houston. And this is an introduction that she did recently at the Parliament of World Religions.
I'm Dr. Jean Houston, and such an honor to help open this magnificent gathering of spiritual and religious leaders and seekers from all around the world. Well, friends, this is a high time, a holy time, indeed a sacred time, a time in which the reset button of history may be pressed. And be not afraid. You were made for these times. We come together at a time of profound challenge and extraordinary change. We are facing an unprecedented moment in human and planetary history, a time of whole system transformation in which people and purpose are being asked to cross the great divide of otherness and recognize the soul-driven gifts that each of us embodies. Our lives are now regularly containing many times the amount of sheer experience of our ancestors of earlier centuries. As a result, we are heirs to an extraordinary speeding up of the evolutionary process. We move to new professions, lifestyles, religions, seemingly at will. Nothing, it seems, is impossible for us. Nature, through us, seems to be entering a new epoch, not so much biological evolution, but conscious evolution. We have become conscious of our capacities to direct the next phase, not only of our personal lives, but of the world's destiny as well. At no time in history, in the very course of history, have the stakes been so high for self, society, and the earth herself. The sheer scope of breakdown and breakthrough, beauty and ugliness, the unexpected as the expected, the upside-down, topsy-turvy nature of things that previously had been ordinary and unchanging, all these elements bring us into the planet-wide life of a story that is unique and previously unknown, always surprising, and therefore what I call mythic. And this is happening to all of us simultaneously, all around the world, regardless of culture or context, economics or ecology, science or spirit. It is as if we have landed on the unknown other side of the moon of ourselves, and we have little or no training or mentoring with which to meet the immensities of the challenge. And yet, tap into the inner world of virtually anyone, anywhere, and you find the great mythic themes roiling within them. Beneath the surface of consciousness, not only are myth and an emerging new narrative alive, but so is the beginning of a new sacred history of which we are its partners and its parents. But so, I believe, is the emerging story which is strewn with the seeds of personal and cultural transformation, and no old formulas or stopgap solutions will serve. Oh, friends, we find ourselves at present in the midst of the most massive shift of perspective humankind has ever known. Clearly, we are living in a time in which our very nature is in transition. The scope of change is calling forth patterns and potentials in the human brain, mind, spiritual system that, as far as we know, were never needed before. Knowings that were relegated to the unconscious are becoming conscious. Experiences that belong to extraordinary reality are becoming ordinary. Now, speaking as one who has worked in, close to 100 countries, I find that with the intersection of so many ways of being from all over the planet, the maps of the psyche and of human possibilities are undergoing awesome change. Awesome change. During this time, we need to heed the call of this parliament and open our hearts to the world and move our compassion into action. At the United Palace of Spiritual Arts in New York City, where I serve as board chair, we speak of spiritual artistry. And as we all know, the spiritual and religious traditions of the world have shared their insights and wisdom through art. Yes. I mean, art is one of the humanity's most enduring spiritual languages. I mean, understanding this, spiritual artists open their hearts and souls to all the world's arts, cultures, and spiritual wisdom. Every faith and spiritual tradition, every culture and people have unique wisdom and insight to share with the world. And through this global communion, spiritual artists seek to find their own unique voice in this world and time, a voice they put into compassionate service to others and all of creation. So, friends, I encourage you to use this historic gathering to open your heart to the unknown, the unfamiliar, the foreign, the alien, the stranger, and allow your heart to grow, your soul to deepen, your imagination to soar. I encourage you to become a spiritual artist. Yesterday, having too much experience of the weight of the world, I decided to take a long car ride up in the hills where I could look down at the valleys and the plains, the lakes, rivers. But I saw below me on the plains a magnificent building. I went to visit, and this building and its surroundings was actually the Tashi Choling Tibetan temple, filled with the most exquisite statues, Buddhas, arts, the genius of the spiritual artistry of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. The air was filled with the prayers of those who had sought the peace and tranquility of this magnificent temple to lift their souls, their minds, and yes, their possibilities. And in those moments that I had the great consolation of being there, I could feel my own spirits rising, my own sense of being, of purpose, of becoming clearer, and my own love of the earth and of all its creatures and beings becoming stronger. I was in this rare place of spiritual artistry. And so, dear friends, I encourage you, I ask you to allow the spiritual artist who lives within you to grow, to thrive, and to bring a new world into time. Thank you.